Hello friends. What happens when a man who swims through emotions meets a woman who soars through ideas? When Pisces man, the dreamer of the zodiac, encounters Aquarius woman, the innovator of the stars, something utterly unique begins. Is it magic or mayhem? Or is it both, wrapped in an unpredictable package of heart and mind? This is the story of two cosmic forces meeting on Earth, and what that means for love, sex, marriage, friendship, and even business. Buckle in, because this compatibility isn't your typical fairy tale, but it might just be your favorite one. Love, the dreamer meets the rebel. At first glance, the love story between a Pisces man and an Aquarius woman reads more like a paradox than a fairy tale. One is water, fluid, mysterious, emotionally expansive. The other is air, cool, untouchable, electric with thought and motion. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, the dream weaver of the cosmos, who paints emotions in vivid, shifting colors. He's not interested in surface-level attraction, he craves soul fusion. He listens more with his heart than his ears and feels things others can't even name. For him, love isn't just an experience, it's a transcendent state. Now meet the Aquarius woman, the disruptor. She dances to the beat of a satellite no one else can hear. Ruled by Uranus, the planet of innovation and unpredictability, she moves through the world like an idea in motion, fast, sharp, uncontainable. Emotional vulnerability isn't her first language. Logic, idealism, and creative rebellion are. She doesn't crave flowers and handwritten poems, she wants a partner who can challenge her theories, match her independence, and let her be entirely herself. It's hard to imagine these two speaking the same language. And yet, the contradiction is the attraction. The Pisces man finds himself magnetized by her originality. She's so unlike the familiar, nurturing, emotional partners he usually seeks. She lives outside the realm of emotion, and that intrigues him. She represents what he doesn't yet understand, the unknown. Meanwhile, she finds herself drawn to his depth. In a world that often feels artificial or overly rational, his raw, emotional honesty is disarming. He feels things she forgot she could feel. He's a quiet tide that pulls at her carefully structured shores. Their emotional dialects couldn't be more different. This love connection doesn't follow a script, it writes its own play in real time. The Pisces man seeks closeness through sharing feelings, dreamy glances, subtle gestures of affection. He wants to look deep into someone's soul and stay there. The Aquarius woman. She seeks closeness through shared ideas, radical honesty, and mutual respect for independence. When Pisces says, "Tell me what you're feeling," Aquarius is more likely to reply, "Let's break down the concept of attachment theory over coffee." This isn't a mismatch. It's a tension that, if harnessed correctly, becomes alchemy. Their success depends on how well they're willing to learn each other's languages. Pisces has to understand that Aquarius isn't cold, she's cerebral. Her detachment is often her way of protecting a heart more sensitive than she lets on. Aquarius, in turn, has to understand that Pisces isn't needy, he's open. His emotional honesty isn't weakness, it's his strength. And when that bridge is crossed, when they meet each other halfway, heart and mind, a magical balance emerges. Pisces brings tenderness, romance, and the kind of unspoken understanding that makes Aquarius feel seen beyond her intellect. Aquarius brings freshness, unexpected perspectives, and the freedom Pisces didn't know he needed. Their love doesn't feel like a fairy tale, it feels like a movement, something both intimate and evolutionary. The relationship thrives in contrast, not similarity. They won't be the couple who finishes each other's sentences. More likely, they'll be the ones who take different routes to the same destination, often arguing along the way, but arriving stronger for it. Pisces wants shared dreams, candlelight, music that means something. Aquarius wants stimulating conversations, progress, and a future that breaks all the rules. And yet, when they share their respective visions, something clicks. They both want more than the ordinary. Pisces wants to dissolve into a love that transcends. Aquarius wants to build something that redefines what love can be. And in that rare, powerful overlap, they can find common ground, love as a creative force, not just a romantic one. Their relationship can become a space for both transformation and trust. But don't be fooled, it's not all poetic stares and intellectual bonding. Their differences can also create chaos. Pisces may feel hurt by Aquarius's independence. Her need to retreat can trigger his abandonment fears. Aquarius, on the other hand, may feel overwhelmed by his emotional needs. She might interpret his vulnerability as pressure or manipulation, even when it's not. This is where communication matters most, not surface-level talk, but real, uncomfortable, honest conversations. If Aquarius can learn to gently lean into emotional moments, even when they feel messy, and Pisces can learn to give space without fear of loss, they create a rhythm. Not a smooth one, but one that works, like jazz, imperfect, improvised, but somehow beautiful. They may never be traditional. But they can be timeless. Pisces and Aquarius are rarely the couple holding hands in matching sweaters. But they're the ones people remember, not because they're picture perfect, but because they're real, unpredictable, and endlessly fascinating. Their love may confuse others, even themselves. But if nurtured, it becomes a rare blend of emotional gravity and intellectual lightness. Some relationships are built on similarity. Others, on growth. This is the latter. Pisces teaches Aquarius how to feel. Aquarius teaches Pisces how to think freely. Together, they don't complete each other, they expand each other. So can the dreamer love the rebel? Yes, if he's willing to give her the sky, and she's willing to meet him at the ocean's edge. And there, where logic ends and love begins, they just might write a story that defies the stars. Sex, between mystery and freedom. When a Pisces man and an Aquarius woman step into the bedroom, they don't just undress their bodies, they shed entirely different expectations of what intimacy means. For Pisces, sex is the ultimate act of emotional surrender, a sacred portal through which souls dissolve into one another. It's not just physical, it's mystical. He wants closeness so complete that the line between him and his partner disappears. His touch is intuitive, slow, and layered with affection. He listens to her breath, feels her moods, responds not to what she says, but to what her energy whispers. Aquarius, by contrast, views sex as exploration, a cerebral, thrilling, and sometimes rebellious act. She's not afraid to try anything once, maybe twice, just to see how it feels. To her, the bedroom is a science lab, a performance space, an art gallery of the unexpected. She might surprise him with unconventional moves or bring a toy neither of them has used before. It's never predictable, never routine. But it's not necessarily emotional either, and that's where things get complicated. The Pisces man comes seeking connection. The Aquarius woman arrives looking for experience. He wants to feel. She wants to try. And this fundamental difference creates both their biggest challenge and their greatest opportunity. If he's too emotionally attached to every encounter, he may interpret her playful detachment as a lack of interest or, worse, rejection. He could end up hurt, confused, and wondering why something that felt so intimate to him didn't land the same way for her. Meanwhile, if she senses that he's using sex to fill emotional gaps, she might feel pressured or manipulated, as if she's being asked to play a role she didn't audition for. But if they are able to synchronize, to truly understand where the other is coming from, the experience becomes unlike any other pairing in the zodiac. When Pisces lets go of his need for emotional affirmation, and Aquarius softens her walls just enough to feel instead of only think, what happens between them is nothing short of electric. Their bodies speak different dialects, but when they take time to listen, their shared language becomes passion. Their sex life doesn't follow a script. One night it's a slow dance under candlelight, drenched in sensual energy and endless eye contact. The next night, it's wild, experimental, and full of laughter, like two misfits finding joy in breaking the rules together. Role play, blindfolds, surprise locations, it's all on the table. And sometimes off it. The contrast becomes the chemistry. There's something inherently magical about this match, when it works. Pisces brings the depth, the raw emotion, the silent understanding, the need to be with someone, not just next to them. He brings candles, connection, and slow, reverent touches that can feel like a spiritual massage. His entire sexual energy says, I'm not just touching your body, I'm touching your soul. Aquarius, on the other hand, brings the spark, the mental kink, the fearless desire to innovate. She might bring tech into the bedroom. Or suggest a strange new position that's half acrobatics, half astrophysics. Her sexuality is unpredictable and constantly evolving. It's not fueled by emotional need, but by imagination and curiosity. This yin-yang dynamic makes for a thrilling push-pull. Pisces teaches Aquarius to be present in the moment, to slow down, to value the emotional richness that can blossom during physical connection. Aquarius teaches Pisces to detach from outcome, to embrace the freedom of exploration, to laugh and experiment without overanalyzing every touch. They may never have a textbook sex life, but they'll have stories. Sometimes chaos, sometimes clarity. Always unforgettable. Of course, not every encounter will be cinematic. Their differences mean that misalignment is inevitable. Pisces might over-romanticize a night that, for Aquarius, was just fun. Aquarius might suggest a threesome, and Pisces might take it as a betrayal. Timing, trust, and communication are everything here. Yet, when they get it right, when they both release the need to control the experience and instead fall into the moment, something spectacular happens. Their lovemaking becomes a wild blend of heart and mind, of emotion and intellect, of softness and daring. It's not always consistent. Sometimes they'll go weeks perfectly in sync, and then suddenly drift apart like ships on different missions. But that's part of the thrill. Neither of them really wants routine, not in life, and definitely not in bed. What they create together is a private universe, part sanctuary, part carnival. And in this universe, passion isn't defined by routine or rules, but by imagination, openness, and willingness to dive into the unknown. Unpredictability becomes the aphrodisiac. There's a kind of liberation in this pairing. Pisces releases Aquarius from the fear of emotional vulnerability, showing her that feeling doesn't mean weakness. Aquarius releases Pisces from the idea that love must always hurt to be real, teaching him that lightness can also be sacred. Their sex life becomes a metaphor for their entire relationship, a place where contradiction doesn't cancel, it creates. Where mystery meets freedom. Where intimacy isn't about losing themselves in each other, but discovering new parts of themselves through each other. So what happens when the soulful dreamer tangles with the starry-eyed rebel under the sheets? It might be confusing. It might be chaotic. It might even be cosmic. But it will never, ever be boring. Marriage, chaos or cosmic contract. Marriage between a Pisces man and an Aquarius woman isn't the kind you'll find in a wedding magazine spread or a Hallmark movie, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful, or so perilous. These two don't just walk into marriage with hopes, they enter with entirely different blueprints for what marriage should be. For Pisces, it's the end of a romantic quest, a lifelong merger of souls, where love is the oxygen and home is wherever the heart sleeps. He wants to be so emotionally connected that even silence feels like conversation. Aquarius, meanwhile, sees marriage through a lens of innovation, not as a default life milestone, but as a construct to be questioned, redesigned, maybe even rebelled against. She doesn't want a husband, she wants a partner in revolution. The word forever doesn't scare her, as long as it doesn't come with emotional surveillance or loss of independence. She's the woman who may wear a black wedding dress, walk herself down the aisle, and request no vows unless they're written in binary code. So how on earth do these two align? It begins, perhaps, with a shared love for the extraordinary. Neither Pisces nor Aquarius is content with a conventional life. Pisces dreams of spiritual purpose, emotional depth, and a love that mirrors the movies, preferably the ones with poetic voiceovers and tragic piano scores. Aquarius dreams of changing the world, flipping systems on their heads, and building a life partnership that feels like a sci-fi adventure through space and self-actualization. When they lean into their shared idealism, rather than their differing emotional needs, something unexpected happens: their marriage becomes a canvas. Not one filled with picture-perfect traditions, but one splattered with authenticity, discovery, and visionary love. Pisces brings the color. Aquarius brings the shape. Together, they sketch a relationship that might confuse others, but makes perfect sense in their own universe. The emotional climate is anything but stable, and that's the point. Pisces, ever the romantic, wants emotional security. To him, marriage is the soft, sacred place to land, a promise of warmth and continuity in a cold, chaotic world. He craves affection, daily affirmation, and moments of deep, undistracted presence. He wants to talk about feelings. A lot. He wants shared baths, shared bank accounts, shared silence that says, "I love you," without a single word. Aquarius hears that and instinctively checks for the nearest exit. She values presence, but on her terms. Emotional conversations must have a point. Closeness is fine, but codependency is a deal-breaker. Her love is real, but it's often filtered through intellect, not emotion. To Pisces, this might feel like rejection. To Aquarius, his expectations can feel like a trap. She needs air. He needs water. And without balance, someone drowns, or floats away. But here's the twist: Aquarius isn't unfeeling. She just expresses love through ideas, loyalty, and acts of innovation. She may not say, "I miss you," with teary eyes, but she'll design a whole app to help him sleep better when he's anxious. Pisces may misread this at first, but over time, if he learns to see her logic as love, their bond grows more resilient than most. They argue. They misunderstand each other. But when they pause long enough to truly listen, they find themselves in a marriage that doesn't just survive, it transforms. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to decode a new part of the other person. Each argument is an invitation to grow. They don't marry to settle down. They marry to wake each other up. Commitment, for them, is not conformity, it's co-creation. In a world that idolizes matching robes and joint Facebook accounts, the Pisces-Aquarius marriage might look like chaos. They might live in different cities for months at a time. One might take a sabbatical to write poetry in Bali, the other might join a Mars simulation in the Utah desert. And yet, they stay connected, through shared values, shared dreams, and a sacred freedom to grow independently within the union. Pisces brings softness, empathy, and a desire to nurture the emotional ecosystem of the marriage. Aquarius brings vision, perspective, and the strength to challenge stagnant dynamics. He helps her feel. She helps him evolve. It's less about giving each other what they want and more about expanding each other's definitions of what's possible. And while it may never be easy, there's nothing shallow about this partnership. When they commit not just to each other, but to the process of becoming something greater together. Their love isn't about symmetry, it's about synergy. There will be tension. There will be days where Pisces feels like he's loving a ghost. Days where Aquarius feels like she's loving a storm cloud. But if they hold space for each other's differences, without trying to edit or tame them, the marriage becomes not just a relationship, but a spiritual and intellectual contract between two cosmic minds. They might never agree on what marriage should look like. But they may just end up creating the version everyone else wants to copy. And that, for these two, is the truest kind of romance. friendship, unlikely BFFs or secret soulmates. Before there's even a flicker of romance, or in the complete absence of it, the Pisces man and Aquarius woman can find themselves entangled in a uniquely deep and slightly bizarre friendship that somehow just works. This isn't your run-of-the-mill coffee and brunch kind of connection. This is the type of friendship that starts with a philosophical debate at 2 a.m. and ends with a shared journal entry written under the stars. From the outside, they look like opposites, he's the emotional wave, she's the intellectual breeze. But their bond forms because of, not in spite of, their differences. Pisces, the eternal dreamer, is fascinated by the way Aquarius processes the world, coolly, abstractly, with a sort of electric detachment that somehow never comes off as cold. He's enchanted by her originality, her unwillingness to conform, and the way she can speak about social justice and quantum physics in the same sentence. Aquarius, for her part, finds his sensitivity grounding. She doesn't usually let people in, but Pisces isn't trying to pry, he just sees her. He doesn't need her to be anyone else. In fact, he's drawn to the very strangeness that others might find difficult. Together, they inhabit a space that isn't quite reality and isn't quite fiction. Their friendship is full of long walks with no destination, documentaries followed by existential conversations, and a shared playlist that somehow includes lo-fi beats, Bjork, and whale sounds. They talk about things like whether souls have frequency, or if feelings can be coded into machines. It's weird. It's wonderful. It's theirs. The emotional rhythm of their friendship is unpredictable, but real. One of the most beautiful, and most challenging, aspects of this friendship is how it tests their emotional expectations. Pisces, being a water sign, tends to build friendships like love stories, deeply, emotionally, and with the quiet hope that this connection will last a lifetime. He gives freely, loves easily, and expects a certain emotional presence in return. For him, friendship isn't casual, it's cosmic. Aquarius, on the other hand, is not always wired that way. She may adore Pisces' presence, but she also needs space, lots of it. She doesn't want to text every day. She won't remember your birthday unless it's programmed into her calendar. And she doesn't do emotional check-ins unless she's in the mood to be vulnerable, which may not be often. To Pisces, this can feel like abandonment. To Aquarius, his constant emotional radar can feel overwhelming. And yet, somehow, the friendship persists. Why? Because underneath the missed messages and mismatched expectations, there's something much stronger at play, a deep, mutual respect for each other's inner world. Pisces never tries to change Aquarius, and Aquarius never judges Pisces for feeling deeply. He teaches her how to slow down and care more. She teaches him how to detach and care wisely. They irritate each other, sure, but they also inspire each other. This is the kind of friendship that doesn't demand. It invites. It doesn't rely on routine or obligation. It's built on spontaneous sparks, sudden bursts of connection, and the kind of loyalty that doesn't always show up every day, but is unshakable when it matters. It's a friendship that evolves through eccentricity, not sameness. Over time, this bond becomes a safe haven for both. Aquarius may not admit it, but Pisces is often the only person she allows to see her softer side. With him, she can talk about childhood fears, heartbreaks, or the moments when her logic fails her. Pisces, in turn, feels seen in a way that's rare, not just for his emotions, but for his ideas. Aquarius challenges him intellectually. She pushes him out of his comfort zone and shows him that feelings are valid, but so is action. They may take different roads in life, she might build startups, he might write poetry in a coastal town, but they always find their way back to each other. Their friendship isn't linear. It expands and contracts with the seasons of their lives, but never truly disappears. They might go months without speaking, then pick up the phone and talk for 4 hours about the ethics of AI relationships and whether the moon has memory. And when life gets dark, when Pisces is lost in a sea of feeling, or Aquarius hits an emotional wall she can't think her way through, they show up. Not always with the perfect words, but with presence. Quiet, weird, unwavering presence. This friendship doesn't make sense to most people. It doesn't follow the "we have so much in common" script. It's built on something rarer, the ability to respect each other's uniqueness while meeting on the outer edge of human experience. It's built on a shared comfort with uncertainty, a shared love of possibility, and an unspoken agreement that being different is exactly what makes them fit. So, are they unlikely BFFs or secret soulmates? Maybe they're both. Maybe they're neither. Maybe, just maybe, they're a new category altogether, friends who orbit the same strange star, forever bonded by a frequency only the two of them can hear. Business, genius partners or organized chaos. When a Pisces man and an Aquarius woman walk into a boardroom, it's not your typical entrepreneurial duo. They don't arrive with color-coded folders or quarterly growth projections, they show up with vision boards, disruptive ideas, and an aura that screams, "The rules do not apply here." Together, they're less like business partners and more like a cosmic collision of innovation and imagination. Pisces sees the emotional need. Aquarius sees the technological gap. He's dreaming about what the world should feel like. She's engineering what it could look like. Pisces brings a level of emotional intelligence and intuitive insight that traditional market research could never uncover. He doesn't just guess what people want, he feels it, often before they even know they need it. He's the kind of partner who says things like, "This brand needs more soul," and actually knows how to add it. Aquarius, on the other hand, operates on another frequency altogether, one filled with algorithms, late-night prototypes, and a refusal to accept "impossible" as an answer. She's not just thinking outside the box, she's dismantling the box, recycling it, and using the parts to build something 3 versions ahead of the current market trend. Put them in a room together, and the brainstorming doesn't stop. They bounce ideas off each other like pinballs in a machine that prints out the future. He suggests a community-driven platform for emotional healing. She codes the prototype over the weekend and adds blockchain security. Their synergy is electric, not always polished, not always structured, but undeniably powerful. Their strength lies in the way they inspire each other. Pisces opens Aquarius to deeper human meaning, while Aquarius pulls Pisces out of dreamland and into action. Visionary brilliance meets logistical indifference. The catch? They're both allergic to mundane details. Neither of them wants to review contracts, file taxes, or keep receipts. They'd rather talk about where the company is going spiritually than balance last month's books. Pisces zones out during financial meetings. Aquarius hacks the CRM system instead of actually using it. They're capable of brilliance, but brilliance doesn't file payroll or submit quarterly reports. This is where things teeter on the edge of chaos. Without a grounded third party to handle logistics, deadlines blur, ideas pile up, and execution starts to lag. They don't mean to be disorganized, they're just thinking so far ahead that today feels irrelevant. They're idealists, not administrators. Dreamers, not accountants. But here's the secret sauce: the moment they bring in someone who can translate their genius into structure, a Virgo who lives by calendars, a Capricorn who's turned budgeting into an art form, the entire business takes off. Suddenly, the ideas have legs. The visions turn into launch dates. The company becomes both meaningful and scalable. In this trinity, Pisces and Aquarius don't just succeed, they redefine success. They create brands that have purpose, tech startups that feel human, nonprofits that actually change lives. They're not just building businesses, they're building movements. Not coworkers. Catalysts. At their best, Pisces and Aquarius aren't just running a company, they're starting revolutions in disguise. Their ventures don't follow trends, they create them. The Pisces man is constantly dreaming of how to heal, inspire, and emotionally elevate the world through business. He might pitch a line of wearable art that responds to your mood or a digital therapy platform that uses immersive storytelling. Meanwhile, the Aquarius woman is already testing prototypes, researching patents, and figuring out how to make it scalable through open-source collaboration. They thrive in uncharted territory: social entrepreneurship, environmental innovation, spiritual tech, virtual experiences with real-world impact. These two don't build to profit, they build to change something. And they do it with just enough brilliance, weirdness, and daring to pull it off. What sets them apart is the way they feed off each other's energy without stepping on each other's creative toes. Pisces brings the heart. Aquarius brings the brain. One feels the wave, the other builds the surfboard. And when they're aligned, truly aligned, they don't just launch products. They launch possibilities. Sure, their business meetings might be held during meditation sessions or midnight walks under a full moon. Sure, their internal documents might be a shared Google Doc titled, "Crazy Cool Ideas That Might Actually Work." But somehow, against all odds, they do. Because when Pisces and Aquarius build something together, it's not just about what sells. It's about what matters. And in a world obsessed with profit margins, they remind us that the most successful ventures are often the ones driven by passion, imagination, and the guts to be different. So, are they compatible? The short answer is, not by the book. The long answer: they're not meant to fit the book, they're meant to rewrite it. The Pisces man and Aquarius woman don't fall into easy compatibility checklists. They're not the textbook match made in heaven. But they might be the match made for something bigger. These two aren't looking for harmony. They're looking for evolution, and that's what makes their connection so compelling, so maddening, and so rare. Compatibility here isn't about seamless agreement or predictable romance. It's about the electricity that pulses between water and air, unstable, thrilling, often misunderstood. He swims in emotion, she lives in her mind. He wants to feel his way through love. She wants to understand it. On paper, it shouldn't work. But in practice, it can create a dynamic that's entirely new, one that neither of them could find with anyone else. This pairing is like a jazz solo, raw, spontaneous, sometimes discordant, but always real. They challenge each other. Pisces pushes Aquarius to care more. Aquarius pushes Pisces to think differently. It's uncomfortable at times, maybe even painful. But comfort was never the point. Transformation was. Their connection is a paradox that works, if they let it. Pisces and Aquarius don't approach love from the same angle. He comes at it like a poet, heart first, drenched in longing and hope. She comes at it like a scientist, curious, detached, asking if love can be optimized. And this is exactly where many couples crash and burn, when they try to force their way of loving onto the other. But here's the magic: if Pisces stops trying to pull Aquarius deeper than she's ready to go, and if Aquarius stops trying to hover above the emotional waves out of fear, they find a rhythm. Not a perfect one, but one that is uniquely theirs. Pisces learns that love doesn't need to be constant emotional closeness, that space can be sacred too. Aquarius learns that intellect isn't always a shield, that feelings, when met with trust, won't drown her. And together, they begin to speak a new language, one of empathy and expansion, of presence without pressure, of letting go without disconnecting. They won't always understand each other. But they'll keep trying. And sometimes, that effort alone is what makes a bond unbreakable. This relationship isn't safe, it's sacred. For Pisces and Aquarius, compatibility isn't about predictability. It's about potential. They may never settle into a traditional love story, and that's exactly why their story is worth telling. It's filled with extremes, laughter that feels like flight, silence that feels like exile, reunions that feel like destiny. They might drift, emotionally, physically, spiritually, but they'll always be tethered by something intangible. Maybe it's mutual respect. Maybe it's unresolved karma. Maybe it's just the universe knowing that these two souls have something to teach each other, even if it's hard. This isn't a love of comfort. It's a love of awakening. They wake each other up to the parts of themselves they've neglected or feared. Pisces reminds Aquarius of her soul. Aquarius reminds Pisces of his strength. Together, they don't just love, they expand. So, are they compatible? Only if they're brave. Because loving each other means stepping into the unknown. It means embracing difference, not fixing it. It means choosing to stay curious, to stay open, even when it would be easier to walk away. But if they choose to do that, if they choose to grow together, rather than separately, their relationship becomes something unclassifiable. Not a fairy tale. Not a failure. But a force. A risk. A revolution. And maybe, a revelation.